guys, so today I will be revealing my insights and little tips that I've learned and observed from my dating challenge. Some of the stuff I kind of learned before the challenge, but they kept popping up throughout the challenge and I feel that it still could be useful to pass on to you guys. Look, obviously I'm not a dating expert, but this is just the insights that I've learned from my experiences. And yeah, but before I go into my insights, I also want to just answer a few questions that I kept receiving again and again, and in case anyone else is wondering about them, I thought I might as well just make them public. So the first thing is, a lot of people ask me, why am I doing this challenge? So I don't know, beginning of the holidays I kind of just decided I wanted to do something fun this holiday. I wanted to do some sort of a challenge, and like, I am dating, and you know, I thought, okay, this is a great idea. It pushed me to go on dates, so I wouldn't just be sitting at home, you know. But I want to just make it clear, and like I did mention this in my introductory video, but I want to make it clear that I never for one instance did this because I wanted to get hookups or because I wanted to just, you know, see if I can get 10 guys. That was not the intention at all. I just genuinely thought it would be a great way to try and challenge myself to meet someone. Okay, so then the second question that I kept getting asked was whether the men knew about the challenge or not, and honestly I didn't really tell them, and the reason being is that I thought it would make things unnatural on the date and would just make things a little awkward, but at the same time I wasn't trying to hide it. Like, if they did find out about it, I straight out told them, you know, what it was about and explained it to them. And that being said, also the ones that I feel I might have potential with, I have told, except for one of them, but that's because I haven't seen him again. So if I do see him again, I will tell him. I just think it's better to tell someone in person if possible, although sometimes things happen and that doesn't necessarily work out. The third question that I kept getting asked is, how did I actually manage to get these dates? So honestly, some of the guys I was speaking to before the challenge, I was writing exams during that time, so obviously I was not going to meet up with anyone, you know, not when I still had to finish reading my English set workbooks, and usually I have them done long in advance. Yeah, it was quite a stressful period for me. But yeah, so some of them I was speaking to beforehand, but some of them I met throughout that, you know, like I started speaking to them throughout the challenge period. And honestly what I did is I just swiped the hell out of Tinder and the hell out of Bumble. Like, I would wake up in the morning, my morning routine for the first like hour of the day would just be like swiping, and like, you know, I'd probably be swiping more left than right. I'm quite fussy. But yeah, I swiped a lot, and I'm not ashamed to ask guys out. I mean, I'm straightforward. I don't have an issue with that at all. I'm a feminist. I mean, I think when it comes to chasing, it's got to be like I mean, I guess the guy can chase more if that's what the girl likes, but I think it's got to be like a mutual thing. Like, you know, you got to like leave some crumbs and then, yeah. But I don't think it's an issue for a girl to ask a guy out at all, especially not the first time around. Obviously, if he rejects you, you know, be cautious about asking again and again. But anyways, what I did actually do is I tried to be like a little sneaky about how I would ask. So I would like ask them, but without really asking them. So for example, this one guy asked me, what am I doing in the holidays? So I just said, oh, I'm doing this and this and this, and hopefully also going on a coffee date with you. So that was kind of like, you know, sneaky. Well, not like sneaky, like it's still straight out, but yeah. I know, like, what my other friend also does is she's actually, like, I call her my dating coach. She is amazing. She probably knows who she is if she's watching this. But what she does, she literally sends a coffee emoji and a question mark. She's like straightforward, like, okay, I'm gonna like ask them like that. And what I like about that is she's not wasting time just texting and texting. She's, you know, going to actually meet these people, and that kind of brings me to my first tip, is that I don't think you should text a guy for a long time before you meet him. Like, obviously you want to be safe, and you know, you don't want to just go meet strangers, and you know, you do have to be safe. I'd say like a week is a good time. Obviously life happens. I mean, like I say, my exam period, I was not going to go meet anyone during that time. So some of the people I did speak to for longer, and funnily enough, the guy that I spoke to the most, I was quite shocked with the date, because what happens is when you text someone for so long, you start getting this image of who they are based on their texting style, and I can guarantee you people are not the way that they text. They can be very different in person, and I'm not saying that our date was bad, but it just was not what I expected. And yeah, I just think that, you know, like it can kind of skew the way that you see the person, so you just need to be careful about that. And look, in general, I don't know if I've already made that quite obvious, but I'm not the biggest fan of texting. I think it's good for like a little bit of flirtation, a little bit of like joking around, but I don't think that having long conversations on text is really nice. That's my personal preference. I think that texting has been made into this dating god that it really should not be. Okay, so my second thing that I learned, and I have been on worse dates than the date that I went on, but this was date number 2. It wasn't like terrible or, you know, but I just learned that if you're not enjoying a date, you're wasting your time being there. And that's what my second advice to you is: if you're not enjoying a date, find a way to get out of it. You know, like, make sure you've got an emergency plan, or make sure that, you know, you can get out of it if you want to, because you're just wasting both people's time. Or even just be honest. I mean, maybe I should have done that, but yeah. And I'm just thinking now, I just want to make it clear with my ratings, because I'm speaking about the date that got the lowest rating, which was date number 2. I just want to make it clear that I'm not rating these guys as people. I'm rating my own experience, which means that I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying that I don't feel that I connected with them, kind of a thing. So yeah, I just want to make that clear. Okay, but anyways, so the third thing that I learned, well, I've known this beforehand, this is something I've always believed in, but this whole experience reminded me why I think it's so efficient, and that is that I think for first dates, coffee is one of your best options. And the reason being, I think I already explained this, but it's because it's a great time frame. Like, it's short, it's sweet. If you want to make it longer, you can make it longer, but if it's going bad, you can get out of the date within about an hour, 2 hours max, you know. Another thing my friend suggested to me yesterday on Instagram, which is also a great idea in terms of that, is make sure or pretend that you have plans at a certain time after the date, so that you have like a cutoff time when the date will end. So for example, if you're going for drinks at 3 o'clock, make sure that you've got plans at like 5, kind of a thing, or pretend you do, you know, which I think is great, because in the beginning you don't want it to be too long. It's that awkward thing of like, you know, like you kind of want to go home, but then you don't know if you should, and also like you can run out of things to talk about, especially because you're like a little nervous around each other, and you know, you're not going to be completely like the way you are with a friend who you can speak to for hours and hours. I mean, if you are like that, that's fantastic. That means that you guys are hitting it off. Like, well done to you. But yeah, I just think that it's a good safety blanket to have. So speaking of which, because someone did ask me this in DMs, and I think it might be good to answer it here as well. They wanted to know if I have any good like date ideas. So other than coffee as a first date, because I think that's good for a first date, if you want to have more ideas for like second dates or whatnot, so I think salsa dancing is great. I was meant to go salsa dancing. I think it's nice because it breaks your physical barrier, but I also think hiking is fun. I've been on hiking dates before, really nice. It's also quite similar to the walk date that I did. You can also go to art galleries. I mean, you know, I like that stuff. Or first Thursdays, although first Thursdays there might be too many people. Yeah, because that's the thing you want to take into account, especially in the beginning. You don't want to be around a huge crowd of people. And other ideas is maybe a picnic, or if you're like me and you're obsessed with food, do something like a cooking date. I am absolutely like obsessed with the idea of having a cooking date. Like, everyone laughs at me, but I think there is nothing more amazing than being with someone and cooking in the kitchen and having a glass of wine. And yeah, my next advice for you guys, which is something that I've always believed in, but it really came about again with the second date. I'm sorry that I'm critiquing him so much, but it's just the fact that I think when you're looking for someone, especially if it's long term, I mean, I'm not exactly looking for marriage right now because I'm very young, but I think that when it comes to looking for someone, you need to try and make sure that you have compatible world beliefs. And I specifically use the word compatible, because they don't have to be the same, they don't even have to be that similar, but they have to be able to coincide with each other, they have to be able to work together. So a good example of that is that I'm extremely spiritual. I mean, I pray in the mornings when I can, I'm into meditation, and a lot of my life revolves around that. And you know, like, I often have stories that people would consider spiritual, you know. So if I'm with someone who's atheist and who completely defies that, doesn't believe in it, doesn't like it whatsoever, which is fine, like, as a friend, that's fine. If I have a friend like that, that's fine. I just won't discuss those things with them. But when it comes to having someone who's your partner, you want to be able to share, you know, your life experiences with them. And obviously, like, you're not going to be the same with everything, and like, that's why I say it's got to be like what's important to you. So it's the life views that are like really high up there, that are like really important to you. So like I say, like, I'm spiritual, I see everything with spiritual eyes, and it's going to be very difficult to connect with someone who doesn't see it like that. And I also just want to make it clear that, like, when I say this, I don't necessarily mean religion or culture. I think that's more people's personal preferences. Yes, that does impact your life views, but I don't think that, you know, being with someone from a different religion can necessarily mean that you're not going to connect, you know. Like, I think you can definitely still find ways to connect, because more often than not, religions are actually quite similar than different, and that's something I've definitely noticed more and more the more I meet people from different religions. But like I said, that's personal preference. So yeah, so for me it's more about life views than anything else. The fifth thing that I've learned, which is something I really struggle with, I think most of us do, but it's just to have no expectations whatsoever. It's to just go with the flow. It's very difficult, especially when you like someone, or quite the opposite, when you are sick and tired of dating, which is what happened to me close to the end of the challenge. I kind of was like, oh, I saw these dates are going to be awful because I'm just not in the mood. Like, I expected things to go really badly. And like, I just said to myself, you know what, I need to just stop having these expectations. I'm going to go with an open mind, and whatever happens, happens. And I actually enjoyed like 2 of those dates, the 2 of the last dates. So it just kind of proves that you shouldn't have any expectations. You should just try go with the flow. It's very difficult, very, very difficult, but I highly, highly recommend that. Okay, and then the 6th thing is kind of the essence of who I am, but a specific situation like that was brought up within the challenge makes me feel that I need to kind of like have this as a point. And that's, I mean, it's gonna sound cliche, but people need to hear it again and again and again, and it's just that you need to be honest, you know. So for instance, the one guy did find out about the challenge before I went on a date with him, and like, I was straight out honest, and it's not even about like hiding or not hiding things. What I noticed is that when you're honest with someone, you actually connect with them on like a different level. Like, you respect them more. Like, I respected him, and I hope he respected me for that. The other thing I'm going to talk to you about is what I call multiple dating, and essentially it's just the idea of dating more than one person at a time in the beginning of the dating, in the beginning of your dating stage. Not obviously when you realize like you really like the one person and you want to become exclusive. I mean, once you're exclusive, you cut off ties. But when I first started dating, this was like last year, I would only see one person at a time, and like, as I've, you know, gone on with dating, I've started to see more than one person at a time, and I've noticed quite a few advantages about that. I mean, yes, there are some disadvantages to it. For instance, some guys don't really like that, or some people don't really like that, you know, and it can make you a little confused sometimes. But what I have learned in terms of the positives about it is that you, first of all, don't become fixated on one guy. You don't, you know, like, obsess over this guy, like, when is he going to message me? You don't sit there waiting for him. You are busy doing other things, you know. And if you don't really want to go on other dates with other guys, then make sure you're busy. That is another way to kind of solve this problem. And that busy can be with friends, it doesn't have to be with guys. But I think it is nice when you go on other dates, because you also realize that that one person that you most like is not the only person in the world. There are other options for you, and that's quite important to know, you know. And this kind of brings me to my second advantage about that, which is something that I've often discussed with my mom, you know, just in terms of like psychology and relationships. And it's the way that, like, I find a lot of women, I mean not everyone, but a lot of women as soon as they start getting attention from a guy, they immediately start falling for him. Like, oh my god, he's the one, how nice, he's doing this for me, he's doing that for me. And they don't really actually pause and think like, wait a second, like, yes, he's being nice, yes, he's giving me attention, but is he actually compatible to who I am? Do we actually have similarities? Do we actually have things that we can do together? Do we actually work for each other? And that's why I think when you date more than one person, you realize that you can get attention. It sounds bad, but you guys get what I'm saying. You can get attention from other places, and so it stops you from falling for someone purely because of attention, you know. And even that being said, I think when you date more than one person, you start to notice what you like in a guy, or, you know, a partner, and what you don't like. And yeah, so you can kind of pay more attention to that, and you can kind of start really focusing on what's compatible for you, and not just, oh, he's giving me attention, great, he's the one. It's genuinely going to be about thinking, you know, who is really compatible to you. And that's why I like multiple dating. But like I say, that's only the beginning phases. Obviously when you start getting a little more serious, then you do need to cut off things, and also be honest about it. Like, I'm going to reiterate my above point, be honest about it. If you know, if you are going to date more than one person, and like, I think most guys assume that you do, especially like your first and second date, you don't need to say that, but be honest about it. If they do find out, if they do ask, be honest. Yeah, and I think that kind of sums up my tips for you guys. Bye!